There it is. We're live.
All right.
Dude. Do you remember when the last episode was? How long ago it was?
I believe it was mid-December.
I thought it was I thought this would be the first episode of 2019. Like I was pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Might be the only episode at this rate.
Probably.
Dude. I mean, with Star Wars coming up, I'm wearing my Star Wars shirt right now. May 4th is right around the corner. So
Yeah.
We'll have to do at least it can be every 6 months, May and basically like December. Marvel release, Disney, fucking Star Wars release, Marvel, Disney, back and forth.
Yeah, at this point, that's what we've been doing. So,
So you literally this podcast should be sponsored by Disney.
yeah,
they're the only thing keeping us going, man. Yeah. So we haven't recorded at all this year, which means we've missed like fucking 8 million things that have happened.
yeah.
So I figure in the interest of time and all the stuff that I don't remember has happened, I think we should just start. Like, did you see Captain Marvel?
I did. Yeah.
All right. And so we've both seen Captain Marvel. We've both seen Endgame. Dude, we should just do Marvel in the front half and then fucking freestyle in the back half. See what's up.
All right. Sounds good to me.
You want to jump right into the top 5?
Yeah.
This is excluding this final Spider-Man that we're about to get. Top 5 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies of all time. Again, excluding Spider-Man, because who knows? Maybe that'll be number 1. I doubt it, but
yeah.
it might be. So, all right, man. Top 5. What's your number 5 right off the bat? What do you got?
Number 5 for me is Civil War.
Any reason why?
That's basically Avengers 2.5. I mean, it's a good turning point for everything, basically.
I'm just like shocked that you would put it, because like 5 out of 22 movies doesn't seem like a low ranking, but there's a lot of like movies out of the 22 that like wouldn't ever enter a top 5 for me.
Oh yeah.
And so like to see that movie so far back in this list, I'm concerned because now I feel like my list is wrong.
You're into the actual comics more than me, so you might have a different viewpoint on things, but
because my number 5 was Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
It's the best of the Thors, but it like barely scraped by this top 5. I've thought really hard about it. I just kind of dropped it in because it is so funny and iconic, and so many people, that's like the movie that they love, and I also loved it. Maybe not the best Marvel movie, but it was in my top 5. It was good. It was enjoyable. It was funny as fuck. That's the key. It was hilarious.
I'm glad they brought Taika or whatever his name is into it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, without spoiling too much, I guess before we go any further, there's probably going to be a lot of casual in-game comments. So if you do listen to this podcast and you haven't watched Endgame, I guess don't, but we'll come back tomorrow. I don't know, man. Because what I was going to say was I was so glad that Korg shows back up in Endgame.
Yeah.
It was that little funny bit. I don't know if I loved the Fortnite stuff, but
no, I didn't like that.
But I was like, oh, I'm glad he's still around. And I guess the Tessa Thompson just said that they were just pitching Thor 4. Again, spoilers if you haven't seen Endgame. Thor's not dead yet. But yeah, like Thor 4 is being pitched and like he's supposed to come back. Taika is supposed to come back. We'll see. And that's why Thor Ragnarok is my number 5.
So it's actually my number 4.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like, if that movie never happened, I wouldn't be that upset about it, but I'm glad that it did. I guess is the way to look at it, because it was funny and it introduced characters that I enjoy. Like for the 30 seconds that Korg matters, like he's funny.
Yeah, I love that character.
And he was great in everything else he's done. But yeah, Ragnarok is a solid entry. Definitely the best of the 3, because the first Thor is really Shakespearean. The second Thor, we all pretend like it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's at the very bottom of my list.
Mm-hmm. And it's so unfortunate because like his mom dies in it, and like a lot of like character growth, but like it just wasn't. Dude, it's just not an enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
When we were, go ahead.
I say, and then going to Endgame again, you got to see that movie to know what's going on in Endgame, kind of.
Mm-hmm. When we did the Marvel rewatch, like, because everybody did it, like everybody watched the majority, if not all of them. I didn't even bother revisiting Thor 2. I did it when Infinity War came out. So I was like, I'm not watching it again. It's only been a year. I need about 5 more years before I see this movie again.
Yeah.
And so that makes my number 4 is I scratched a bunch out. I literally, dude, my piece of paper that I'm working with looks like the wall in the and It's Always Sunny where Charlie's like Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. There's like a bunch of names and then there's just like arrows going to like because I wrote it down and then I realized I had forgotten the movie and I was like, oh no. And instead of just rewriting, I just like drew arrows. Um so Ragnarok was going to be my 4, and then I bumped it up to fit in something else. And so my actual number 4 is the first Captain America, first Avenger.
Okay.
I view that as the better entry point into the Marvel movies, as much as Iron Man 1 kicked it off. I just prefer I would prefer Cap have been the starting point and not Iron Man.
Yeah.
And I get it, and like obviously, like at the time, Robert Downey Jr. was a lot more bankable than Chris Evans, who, when Chris Evans fucking landed that role, I didn't know who he was. Like, I'd seen him in like 5 things.
Yeah. Human Torch. Bad Human Torch.
I was like, oh, fuck, it's Human Torch. Like, not interested in this. Scott Pilgrim had just popped off, so I was like, all right, cool. The movie's going to suck. But it's like overall, it's like a great movie, and it's a great entry point. And it was really cool to revisit a lot of like those Captain America themes in Endgame, which we'll talk about at the end of this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that was our 4s. What was your number 3?
I put Endgame at number 3.
I don't want to talk about it too much up front, but strong enough to put it in the top 3.
Yeah.
Which is saying a lot. You must have enjoyed it more than I did, man.
Yeah.
I came home and I was like, that was really it? That's what we waited for?
Yeah. Like, it has its plot holes, which we'll talk about. But I liked it better the second time for some reason. Like, better than the first time because I knew everything. I could see all the... I don't know what you want to call it, but...
like you see it the first time and you're just like trying to suck up as much as you can because you don't want to miss anything. But then that second time, you're like, oh, I know X, Y, and Z is happening. You can like look at the other information that's being presented, like the other scenes, the other, I don't want to call them Easter eggs because most of the time they're not, but like, oh, that also happened when I was focusing on this conversation that was happening.
Yeah. And it also gave me time to research before seeing it again and then looking for those things that I missed.
That's always the key. I really wanted to go like a second time. I actually had tickets to go see it today. Comcast was like giving out free tickets to Endgame, and I was gonna go today, and then I saw it, and I just wrote back to like Comcast email. I was like, I don't want these anymore. Give them to someone else, I guess. But it was so weird. It was like got a random email, and it was like wasn't spam. It was like, hey, you've been a Comcast customer for like 5 years, and you've never begged us to change your bill price because you're a dipshit. You get these free tickets. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, free tickets. And then we didn't go. So Endgame was number 3. I gotta find out where my arrow's going. My number 3 is Infinity War, actually.
Okay.
It's out of the 22 movies, I think it's one of the most enjoyable. But Infinity War was a much better movie until you see Endgame, and then you see how they unresolve all of these things, or they resolve these things that were left open. And I think it kind of takes away with how powerful Infinity War was. Like, even though we knew that Spider-Man wasn't really gone, and Black Panther wasn't really gone, and Doctor Strange wasn't really gone, because all of these people have movies queued up for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
But it was like, when the end of Infinity War popped, like, dude, I don't know if I've told anyone the story really, but like, dude, there's only like 200 people in the theater, if that, and everyone's like tearing up and shit while everyone's dusting. And when Spider-Man starts to dust, someone in my fucking like 2 rows away was like, No, and like fucking, it wasn't ironic, dude. It was like like an ugly cry, like oh god, no. And I was just sitting there, and I was like, dude, he has a movie that's coming out next year. Like, even if he's fucking dust, it's not going to be the last time you see him. But
Yeah.
dude, people were legit crying, and I was like, oh, okay, people are really amped about this. And then like they fix all of that in Endgame, and I feel like it cheapens those things in Infinity War because now you're like, you watch Infinity War, and you're like, ah, nobody's fucking dead. Literally, nobody is fucking dead. They take everything back,
Yeah.
basically.
Except for Vision.
But there's gonna be a Disney TV show, dude.
Yeah.
And he only exists at a certain part of the time, so it either has to be a continuation or it's like homie goes back in time or some shit. I don't know.
Well, apparently it's set in the 50s somehow.
That's what I'm saying. So like it has to take place contemporary and then going back.
Yeah, now that time
Vision,
travel's been established.
It's just been blown the fuck up. And you know, like when in Infinity War, when Shuri was doing when she was trying to take the stone out of him, dude, she was copying his brain basically. So you know he exists somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, like, I literally, with how Endgame ends up, like literally nobody from Infinity War is dead. Nobody except Thanos. He's the only person that actually dies. Maybe. And that was why Infinity War is number 3. What's your number 3?
Number 2.
Oh, my bad. You went first. Number 2, yeah.
My number 2 is Winter Soldier.
I hear that. We saw Winter Soldier together.
Yeah.
That was one of the most fire movie experiences of my life.
Oh yeah.
It was mind blowing. Still to this day, one of the best movies I've ever seen out of the Marvel universe, and like as just like a standalone action film, one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think that's the only other Marvel movie besides Endgame that I've seen multiple times in the theater.
And it was worth it every time. It was the same thing. You went back, you went once, and then you watch it again. And even to this day, like I'll forget little pieces, and I'll go back and I'll watch it, which is like somewhat frequently.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh fuck, I totally forgot. Like Baron Zemo's not dead. Like after any of this, Homeboy is like they set up fucking all of this subplot with Winter Soldier and Civil War and like all these other people, and like all these homies are still alive. So that's where the next fucking Marvel non-galactic movies are gonna be. You're gonna be somewhere on Earth with all these villains they haven't killed yet.
Yeah.
That was number 2. My number 2 is Civil War.
Okay.
Which is just for like sheer like oh fuck factor, because like I felt like every 30 seconds I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Because like we knew Spider-Man was going to be in it, and then he shows up at the airport and everyone was like, oh fuck. And like he grabs the shield and he's like, yo, Tony said you'd be a dick, and I was like, ah. Like I literally watch Civil War like all the time. It's on Netflix. I don't even have to put my Blu-ray in anymore. I'll just watch it. I'll just fucking I'll dip out on my life for 3 hours and watch it again. Which makes we're down to the final one, the top 1 Marvel movie of all time, excluding this next Spider-Man potentially.
Yeah.
What do you got?
My number 1's Infinity War.
For obvious reasons. It's a fire movie.
Yeah.
My number 1 is Winter Soldier, if that wasn't obvious halfway through.
Yeah.
But it's dude, they're just too good of movies, especially with how bad the quality has been on DC films off and on. Like there's not a lot of other superhero like big blockbuster action films, because like I don't care about Transformers and I don't care about fucking Star Trek when they make those movies every 3 years, whatever it is. Like this is like my franchise that I care about, and Infinity War, Civil War, Winter Soldier, all absolute fire.
Yeah, that was a hard list to make. Like even as I was marathoning them, I was trying to like rate them, like, oh, this one's better than this one as I went along, and it was still hard.
What I would be interested in doing is, I don't want to go through it now because it would take me some time, but when we post the link to this, we should post 2 comments below. That's our actual ranking for all 22 films.
All right.
It might take me some time because I haven't thought about a few of them for a long time, but
actually, I still haven't seen Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
But whatever.
That's I'm trying to remember. They count the Norton one, not the Eric Bana one.
Yeah,
The Eric Bana one is terrible. Um, is
that
it
one I
Eric?
have seen.
Is it Eric Bana? What's David Bana? What's his name? Eric Bana.
Eric Bana.
Yeah, which is close to David Banner, which is confusing. Um, the Ed Norton one is like not great, but it's not the worst of all of them. Like,
Yeah,
I still would put Thor 2 below the Ed Norton Hulk movie.
there's only like one character that really connects it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Ross, Thaddeus Ross,
Yeah,
who's not technically gone in our universe, so probably going to show up. I think they're doing a Thunderbolts movie, which will be like him and Pierce from the fucking all these. It's going to be wild, dude. So he's like for sure not gone. I hope, but yeah, that universe is still connected, and they still like they don't want to acknowledge it, but the Russo brothers acknowledged it as part of. I don't know if you follow them on Instagram. They were doing like a countdown each day leading up to the movie, and they counted that in their canon, which a lot of people don't. So I figured if the Russos say that it's a part of the canon, I'm going to go ahead and just agree.
yeah.
Because they probably know more about it than I do, since they're responsible for the last 5 movies or whatever it was. So that's it, man. Top 5. No surprise that Captain Marvel was in neither of ours. Dude, we saw Captain Marvel on like opening night, and I went to work the next day, and I was like, wow, that just was not a good movie. And I thought I was gonna get fucking stabbed in the neck. Like, people are like, how dare you? She's a feminist icon. She's powerful. She don't need no man. I was like, correct. Yes. Not a great movie still,
Yeah.
but sure. I was like, as far as like Marvel origin story movies go, sure, it's fine. None of them are that good. Like Iron Man 1 is okay. Cap 1 is good. It's not great. It's good. Black Panther's okay. All of these other origin movies. Thor 1, it's okay. All origin movies are bad typically, but I also didn't love her in Endgame because I thought like, well, we should just move on. We should.
We're start with Captain Marvel in it.
Yeah. Well, so if I had to rate Captain Marvel out of a 5, for context, the only 2 Marvel movies that I put at a full 5 are Civil War and Winter Soldier. Infinity War sits at a 4.5. I would put Captain Marvel just a plain 3. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just not a great movie. Like 3 out of 5. It's a respectable number. Would you rate Captain Marvel a 3 out of 5 or lower or higher?
I'd agree with you. 3, it's pretty good. Like none of these movies are bad, but it is just okay.
Like I walked out and I was like, all the things that I wanted to happen didn't happen, and the things that I was like, well, they're not going to do that. That's what they did. Like my biggest beef with Captain Marvel was, there were multiple beefs, but the thing that I was salty about was the whole movie. Like they set her up to be like this badass. She is badass, super powerful, cool, get it. But then they make her fucking call sign Avenger, and that's where the Avengers name comes from.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, so you're telling me that the whole movie is Nick Fury fucking. All right, so Nick Fury in Avengers 1 says the reason they're building fucking super weapons is because of Thor. Because that's the first time that they've ever found out that they're not alone in the universe is Avengers 1. So you go back to the 90s and all of a sudden Nick Fury is dealing with motherfuckers from space. And that's where he gets the name Avengers from. And then he promptly forgets they exist for 20 years. Come on, son. Like,
yeah.
Like, I know that because Avengers 1 happened like 8 years ago, there's gonna be some misalignments on timelines. Like, I get it, it's a fucking movie franchise. But that's like a pretty big misfire to pretend like Nick Fury doesn't remember the 90s popping off with fucking aliens at all.
Yeah.
Like, because even if he's like, well, Carol's a human, she's a super powered human. Carol, where have you been for the last 20 years? In fucking space. All right.
He was on a fucking spaceship.
And he's on a fucking spaceship talking to fucking dudes that are green. Like, and you're going to pretend like Thor is the reason why you're building weapons, bruh? Come on. You could have just said, like, I don't know, man. It was like Captain Marvel opened up so many other holes in these existing movies that weren't there to begin with. But what are you gonna do? Because Endgame tries to resolve a lot of them, and I don't think it does. But so Captain Marvel, 3 out of 5. I would rate Endgame a 3.5 out of 5, just slightly better than Captain Marvel. Would you give it? What would you give it? A 4, a 5, a 3?
I'd probably give it a 4.
Just like a solid entry. So Endgame, I guess we should. I mean, there are a lot of questions that get answered. There's a lot of questions that like I didn't know I had, and then I watched the movie and I was like, interesting. I wonder what they'll do next. But my biggest thing with Endgame is like how janky their timeline works. Like I know it works for them, like how time is like cyclical and it never really stops moving. Like if you go back in time, you're not actually going back in time. Like Back to the Future, as they reference 800 times.
Yeah.
Just one was enough. We've all seen Back to the Future too. But like if you go back, that's still your current timeline. You're not going back. You're just that's your future. Now you've fucking gone back in time. But like that doesn't fucking answer like what happens to people. Like,
yeah.
Because my thing is I walked out and the very first thing I said was, I wonder where 2012 Loki went.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I missed something in the plot structure that answers it. So I like actually researched. I don't think I've ever really researched after a Marvel movie, like what the fuck happened to Loki. But everyone is like, so he dips out with a Tesseract in 2012, which creates an alternate timeline for 2012 that's now running parallel to the timeline that we see at the end of the movie where he dips. And whatever happens behind that happens because we don't know what happens beyond 2012.
Yeah.
And so the way they're supposed to rectify that is like Captain America going back to those timelines and putting everything back in its proper place keeps them from splintering off into other timelines. The problem is, I don't think he goes back and stops Loki because it would only make sense for him to go back to the 70s where they steal the Tesseract from Howard Stark.
Yeah.
And to put it back there because I feel like if they took the Tesseract they stole from the 70s and replaced that in the 2012 timeline, it's not right. So he didn't go back to stop Loki. So there is a universe where Loki is not dead.
Yeah.
And he has the Tesseract, which means he can go anywhere he fucking wants. Like
I've read that supposedly kicks off his TV show.
See, that would be my thing is like because the TV show is him showing up in like different parts of time and just like influencing like fucking Hitler or something, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
How dope would that be if he goes back in time and he's like grows a little mustache and he's like, yeah, these goddamn Asgardians, and Hitler hears them and he's like, yeah, these Asgardians, they rule. They're like blonde hair, blue eye. Those guys are the shit. Everyone else though, not cool though. So, and then Loki's like, I gotta go. Bye. So yeah, that makes sense. And it's like the same thing with WandaVision, which is the most fucking terrible name I've ever heard for a TV show.
Yeah.
Like it can be an alternate universe, it can be a timeline that doesn't exist, but it was just strange that it's not like he just dipped out and nobody saw him. Fucking everybody watched him disappear and they're like, we made a mistake, and then nobody addresses it again.
Yeah. Oh well, he got away again.
Like that's just Loki. So which effectively unkills Loki, which him and Loki and Gamora were supposed to be the only people that can't be brought back because they didn't snap. But the time travel introduces the idea that both Loki and Gamora are back alive now.
Yeah.
And it's like, where the fuck does she go at the end of that movie? She fucking knees Quill in the dingle, and then she's like, I'm out. I gotta go. And then she's gone.
Yep.
And so literally everybody comes back to life except for Thanos, which was my biggest problem. Was they were like, if they're dead, they're dead. No, nobody dies in this movie except Tony, who come on, son. You're gonna do my guy like that? Like, were you going into it? Did you think like Tony was gonna die, Cap was gonna die, Thor was gonna die? What were your bets?
I knew one of those main three like were gonna have to end. I didn't know how.
I thought it was going to be Cap. I thought it made most sense. Because Captain America has nowhere else to go after this. He's avenged. He's led the team, and like Tony, even before Endgame starts with like the whole family and everything, like they build that connection between Tony and Peter so strongly that it seems like it's going to last. It's going to be a continuing theme.
Yeah.
And then like so it made sense. Like Thor's not going to dip because Thor's character arc is not complete yet. It's almost complete. Like he starts as like Prince, would be king, then he's a nobody, and then he's back to trying to be a would be king. He gets fucked up, he gets superpowers, and then he gets fucked up again by Thanos, gets even more superpowers. And like his arc isn't done, but like Cap's arc was like he's gonna stop Thanos from doing what he does, and then he's gonna die. And sure enough, they just send him back in time and make him 100 years old.
Yeah.
And
doesn't really make sense.
No, because dude, Bucky has the same serum in him, and Bucky doesn't look fucking 90 years old.
Yeah.
Like, like, and I know he was in like a cryo chamber and shit, like, and it was like a different circumstance, but I don't know, man.
From what I've been seeing, like in the comics, the serum doesn't age him at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why the Captain America that they were writing before fucking World War II popped off, it looks the same as the Captain America that we're writing now. They haven't needed to age him because he doesn't age. And it's not like he went back to a time before the serum because he was still a jacked old dude. It's not like he was like a fucking 5'2" old ass Steve Rogers. Like, and I don't know, man. Like, I knew once they started to like queue up Cap retiring or dying or however it was going to play out, and like the two options were Falcon and Bucky to give the shield. I was like a little salty that they didn't give it to Bucky.
Yeah, like they foreshadowed it in so many other movies.
Mm-hmm. And they just, I know it's because like Falcon has also been Captain America before, and I think more recently has been Captain America. Maybe Bucky was, but it's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I liked Falcon as Falcon. He was dope. It was like the perfect character. He comes when he's needed, and then he disappears when you don't need him again. And like for Bucky to have gone through everything that he's gone, and then Steve to die for him or to bring him back from life, or like however they were writing it, and then for Bucky to just like smile and nod and be like, "Yeah, man, take the shield. It's cool. You're good." Like, I was a little salty, and also like, how many shields do they have fucking floating around at this point? Like,
they'd said it's the only one at one point, like back when he should have got it from.
He has the one, and then he gives it up, and then Tony keeps it, and then it's like they destroy it. Thanos destroys it. They go back in time, and you can tell it's the prototype because it's not all the way colored in. And but it's like, wouldn't taking something from a different timeline or some shit, like, doesn't it fuck it up, dude? I still don't understand how the timeline works. Like,
I don't either.
There's this meme that's like, if you can't explain it, it's just because of the Pym particles. like they just do whatever you need them to do.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, going into the movie, revisiting 2012 and 2014 and all of that was really cool, and to like kind of see those scenes that we're so familiar with, but from a different perspective, was neat. But if you eliminate them going back and watching Quill kick a fucking space rabbit around for 10 minutes, the movie is like 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like, they kill Thanos, new Thanos shows up, they kill Thanos again, everybody's back. Yay.
Was it ever explained how Nebula got his ship there?
She uses
because she had one thing left to get her back. Like, how did they get a ship back as well?
I thought she used one of the stones. I could be mistaken. I don't remember, because
that was one of the bigger plot holes for me.
Yeah, because they go back to 2014 where Thanos doesn't have any stones, and then they jump from that timeline to the current timeline in 2023, and that's where Gamora comes from, which is why Gamora's not dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought she had a stone, but I didn't really remember that well. maybe she fucking Pym particled it. Dude, I don't like exactly.
Yeah.
Who fucking knows? Like, and it's weird. It was like just the way they explain the time travel. I understand that it makes sense. It's like time is always moving and linear. It's not like you go back and can fucking erase yourself or anything. But it was just really convenient that they could just do whatever they wanted. And they're like, yeah, time travel, dude. That's how it works.
Yeah. But then couldn't bring back Black Widow.
Dude, oh, you want to talk about plot hole? Holy cow. So the whole thing with the soul stone is that the person has to sacrifice something to earn the stone, but Black Widow kills herself. Fucking Hawkeye doesn't sacrifice her. She willingly jumps and willingly like saves him and then like kicks off the wall so that he can't save her life. That's not how sacrifice works.
Yeah.
If somebody forcefully takes something from you, it's not sacrificing. And so, in theory, he shouldn't have ended up with the stone. Nobody should have, because that wasn't a true sacrifice. It was a sacrifice because they were like best friends or whatever, and that's how they wanted to write it. But
yeah,
because like if Gamora had just jumped off the cliff, Thanos wouldn't have just gotten the stone. He would have been like, "I've lost something," but a sacrifice requires intent. Is the way that I looked at it.
Yeah. And then even if you ignore that, how did Cap return that stone?
And if he did, yeah, does he not recognize Red Skull? Like,
yeah.
He goes back to Vormir and he's like, "Hey man, we took something. We got to give it back to you." And homie's just floating around like the fucking death. And you wouldn't think Cap would mention that to anybody. Like, oh shit, Red Skull's still alive.
Yeah.
We should probably do something. Like, it was wild, dude. Like, and that was why it doesn't enter my top 5 or even like my top 10 probably, is like, it's supposed to be the very end. It's supposed to wrap up all of these things nicely because the next phase is going to be wholly unrelated for the most part. And I doubt Spider-Man's going to be able to wrap them all up. And also, can we talk about how all of Spider-Man's friends got fucking snapped so he can go back to high school this year?
Yeah.
like I get that, like, probably not everybody's dead, and those people that were still alive did move on, and they're like in college or whatever. But it seems really convenient that like Flash and MJ and Ned and everybody else that we have on a first name basis from that movie also got dusted, and now they're back.
Yeah.
And I guess my last thing was like, if in the quantum realm, Scott doesn't age 5 years because he doesn't come out looking 5 years older, why is it that fucking the original Wasp ages like 100 years, it looks like?
Yeah, that's another thing.
Like, I know it's been like 30 years versus 5 years. Like, if I'm 5 years older, I probably don't look that much older. And if I am 30 years older, sure. But like, he doesn't seem to have aged at all. Like, not a speck.
Yeah, and if he was there for only 5 hours for 5 years, wouldn't she be in there for 30 hours?
Exactly. Yeah, someone was doing the math, and it was like, so she really wasn't in there for that long. Like, and maybe it's because like Scott had a better understanding of like how the quantum realm works or some shit, but it's just the Pym particles, dude. Like, you just, whatever you need to happen happens, I guess. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be the best entry, and I hope that as time goes on, we can look back at it and be like, that was really cool, because it was really cool seeing a lot of the stuff that we saw. It just wasn't what I wanted. Out of all the theories that people had, this was like the one that I was least interested in, was like fucking time traveling and copy the stones. My favorite was that Ant-Man was going to go up Thanos' asshole.
Yeah.
Like, you give me that movie, it's #1 movie of all time. I'll go see it in theaters every single day until its theatrical run is over. They were calling it, like, instead of the Thanos, it was like the Thanos.
Yeah.
The Thanos theory. Like, could you imagine any other franchise in the world where your main character is theorized to go inside someone's asshole and explode?
Right.
And I know like that wasn't on the table for anyone in the world except for me, but dude, the next Star Wars, you're telling me Rey shrinks down to a microscopic size, goes inside Kylo Ren's asshole, expands, effectively tearing him in half. I'm down. You have my money, Disney. You know where to find me. So That's what I really wanted. I desperately wanted a butthole ripping scene, or just an allusion to it or something. Like they could have just peppered in a joke somewhere. I feel like where you would have been like, "Yep, he's talking about Thanos' asshole."
I'm kind of surprised they didn't.
Because they gave us like every other conceivable joke. They gave us a Fortnite joke, which is alarming that in 2023 we're still playing Fortnite. As much as I have played Fortnite in my past, I don't play anymore. And 2023 is a long time away from now. And like to have like Thor fucking be on a little PlayStation mic and be like, "This is Thor, king of the fucking Asgardians. I'm gonna come to your house and rip your roof off and fucking hit you with a bolt of lightning." I was like, "Wow, all right, he's aggressive." But last little thing about Avengers, I already have my Halloween costume picked out this year. You know your boy is going as Fat Thor. Like, I'm just gonna like let the beard keep growing, and I'm gonna figure out how to braid it down the center. I'm gonna buy a blonde wig, and I'm literally just I'm gonna buy a Thor outfit that's 2 sizes too small.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be Fat Thor for all Halloween. I mean, for the first year, and since I'm like 18, I'm going trick or treating. What's up? I'm just gonna carry around like 2 fucking giant 40s. I'm just gonna do like, instead of Edward 40 hands, it could be Edward Thordy hands, and I'll be Thor, and I'll just tape fucking Colt 45s to my hands.
You gotta have a koozie shaped like the hammer.
Dude, I'm ready for Halloween already, man. Fat Thor. It's like every year I always want to do like a funny costume, and I'm like, I don't want to invest the time in something I'll only wear once, but I'll wear Fat Thor for the next 5 to 10 years. And every year it'll just get a little more grimy. So I'm really excited about Halloween for once. I gotta go somewhere with it. But yeah, Avengers, not bad. Captain Marvel, slightly less good. But the good news is we're only 2 months away from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which I'll be looking forward to, because once that's over, it'll be done, and we can move on to all the other stuff they've already been planning, like the Eternals and Black Panther 2 and Doctor Strange 2. And at some point, they said it's going to be 5 years until the X-Men enter the Marvel Universe. But holy fuck, something I just thought about. They said 5 years. They didn't say 5 years our time. They said 5 years, period.
True.
Homie, what if they're talking about 2023 timeline 5 years from now? Oh fuck. That's it. That's the new theory. We got to come up with a nickname about butts. But is that they never specifically say 5 years human real life time. Just Disney has said like we won't see them for 5 years. So if Silver Surfer shows up next year, I want my fucking check, Disney. I'm gonna need you to pay me at least a few dollars for that. But yeah, I'm trying to think any other Marvel related stuff before we dip on Marvel.
The only other thing I had was like the hints to young Avengers.
Yeah, I mean they've got I'm trying to think
they got Hawkeye's daughter.
Yeah, well, so Hawkeye's daughter, he's training, but the Hawkeye TV show that Disney specifically announced is Hawkeye training Kate Bishop, who is not his daughter, to take over for him.
Yeah. So the thing I read about that is that they go under a different name because they don't want any association with anything else. I don't know.
That would be possible, and I wouldn't be upset. But like traditionally in the comics, Kate Bishop is like unrelated. They're friends, but they're like not related anyway. But it would also seem strange that they didn't do something with his daughter after like specifically showing you for the first 5 minutes of the movie that she's also good at archery.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, that's totally possible and would be cool. It would be less weird than like I trained my daughter, but I like you more. So let's do this. But we'll see. And then I mean Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, you could do
and Cassie Lang.
Yeah. Has she ever filled in for Ant-Man? I didn't do any research into that.
Yeah, when I looked it up, I forget her name. But yeah, it happens in the comics apparently.
I was never a big Ant-Man reader. He shows up in a lot of stuff that I read, but like not consistently. So Hawkeye, Ant-Man. I mean, you obviously
uh, that Harley Keener kid from Iron Man 3 that was at the funeral,
Yeah.
who supposedly is going to become Iron Lad.
Oh, dude, I hope not. I hope the fuck not. Because like one of Marvel's biggest and like hottest properties of the last couple years was when they introduced Ironheart, which was a lot of people were saying like Shuri could do Ironheart because as fucking racist as it sounds, it's like, oh, she's a young black lady. She for sure is Ironheart because Ironheart is, I think her name's like Riri Williams or something.
Yeah.
And she like doesn't look anything like Shuri, but sure. That would be like a theoretic possibility. And I would actually probably rather see nobody take over than to do like the young Iron Man stuff. It's just weird. But who the fuck knows, man? Like,
Yeah.
and you've got infinite possibilities because they could just introduce whoever they want into this next universe.
Yeah.
Because who knows what fucking timeline we're in anymore.
Exactly. I think I just watched too many videos afterwards with so many ideas that people had going.
Dude, like the moment that I got out, I saw it Friday night, and the moment I got out, my entire Instagram feed was like 17 theories from fucking this movie that you never thought about, and it's just, they're all so bad. Like your fucking Pepper Potts is gonna train Spider-Man now. I'm like, no, I hope that never happens. Or like Natalie Portman came back because Jane's gonna show up in Thor 4. I'm like, I also hope that doesn't happen. Like, I don't want any of these things to happen.
Yeah.
But who knows, dude? I didn't see any of the shit that happened in fucking Endgame really coming either. So I would rather. I hope they like take a break like on all of these characters. I want them to introduce new characters and then just do like a hard stop on a couple of them for a little bit. Like I don't want to see any more Spider-Man after next year for like another 2 years. I don't want to see fucking Bucky and Falcon after this TV show. That's it. That's all they got. I don't need to see them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, give me something new. Let's go to space, dude. And with Guardians 3, Thor fucking joining up at the end and he says as Guardians of the Galaxy, like, dude, you know he's showing up at Guardians 3.
Yeah.
And it's literally, I feel like Guardians 3 is just going to be them hunting down 2014 Gamora and fucking with the timeline some more. But I trust James.
What they referenced at the end of 2, the Adam character,
Adam Warlock, yeah.
You think they're gonna bring him in?
100%. They're doing the Eternals next, which is like all cosmic space entities and shit. And I would be shocked if we don't get like an Adam Warlock related movie, whether it's Eternals or whether they do a Nova Corps movie. Because I think the one opportunity that they missed, and I desperately wanted them to do, was to revisit Xandar after the decimation. Because Xandar was such an important part of Guardians 1, and then we never go back.
Yeah.
Like, you spend 50% of the movie on that fucking planet, basically. And you've introduced the Nova Corps, you've introduced Nova Prime. Like, there's literally a superhero that people love whose name is Nova. You've got the fucking groundwork, and then they didn't go anywhere with it. Never even talked about it again, basically. And I would love for them to go back and then introduce, like, Adam Warlock into it and do more. But, dude, I don't know. Fucking with James Gunn dipping for a couple of years and then coming back, like, who knows where the fucking stories are going to be at.
Yeah.
Because he's busy. He's busy fucking on Suicide Squad, which looks like it's going to be absurd. So he just cast fucking Jean-Ralphio as Polka Dot Man.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Which is, homie literally it's a white suit with fucking multicolored polka dots on. So if anyone can do it, it's James Gunn, I guess.
Yeah. I heard it's going to be like a soft reboot too.
Yeah. The OG Suicide Squad was like, it was like a monthly or bi-monthly publication or whatever, and they would just pick like villains that fucking nobody remembered, like nobody had talked about, and just send them on like Black Ops missions. Like, you've got to go fucking do X, Y, and Z, which is kind of what they did with the first one, except they picked villains that everyone is super familiar with already for the most part. Like, everybody knows who Harley Quinn is, thanks to Smallville and Arrow. Everybody knows who Deadshot is. Like, they picked characters that you can't just like kill and then be good with, like Captain Boomerang. Like, all these people that they've introduced like have existing stories. But this next one, it looks like it's like, who the fuck I haven't thought about Polka Dot Man probably ever in my life. Like, I don't think I've ever read anything with him in it. I just know he exists. So that's where we're at now for fucking DC movies is who can we pull out? Like, what characters don't we care about now?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot of Marvel talk. But the other big battle of the weekend that everybody on the face of the earth watched was Game of Thrones. Are you like watching it week to week, or did you binge it, or what's happening?
Week to week.
It's the only reason I keep HBO, dude. Game of Thrones and Barry.
I'm still using Pat's uncle's HBO.
Yo, shout out. Do you watch Barry?
No, I wanted to.
Holy shit. I would argue it's the better show out of Game of Thrones. Barry's the better show. Dude, this last episode was absurd, and then also what a letdown. What a like a roller coaster of emotion. Like they bring all these characters back, and it's like fucking characters you haven't seen in a season and a half. Like I half expected fucking people to show up from the dead. Like literally everybody came back for this episode, and they do this massive battle, the biggest battle they've ever put on screen. It's fucking 10 minutes longer than Helm's Deep from Lord of the Rings 2 or whatever. And at the very end, you leave this whole battle, and who's dead? A bunch of characters that nobody fucking cares about, dude. The only character that died on screen that I gave two shits about was Barrick, only because that's my homie.
Yeah.
Like he was the shit through and through. Like Theon died, cool. Should have been dead for a long time. Barrick died. Well, we all thought he was dead last season. Like Night King getting taken out by the old dagger switcheroo. Like,
yeah.
Like, all right, man, cool, great.
I thought there was going to be at least a little sword fight or something.
Mm-hmm. And like all of the Night King's like White Walker fucking long-haired generals didn't do a fucking thing the whole fight, dude. Yeah. They literally were just cruising. They were just on autopilot walking around while everyone else fucking duked it out. Like, which only means that with 3 episodes left, dude, I'm telling you, next episode, people are going to start dropping like flies. So what I would like to do now is put it on the record for who we think is going to be dead by the end of this season. I haven't thought about it very much, so I'm going to do it off the cuff. But I'm going to write down. So we've got Bran, we've got Arya, Sansa, Jon. I'm only doing characters that people really care about. Tyrion, Cersei, Jaime, Brienne, Sam, Dany. That's pretty much all that anyone cares about. So at the end of the season, 3 episodes left. Do you think Bran will still be alive? Yes or no?
I think yeah.
So you say yes. I also say yes. I can't imagine he dies battling in fucking King's Landing. How is he going to get there?
Yeah. So far, he's just been sitting, staring at things the whole.
Just creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
Arya, after killing the Night King, I'm saying dark horse choice. She dies. Her character arc is over. She's done what she needed to do. So I'm gonna say Arya dies. What do you think?
I'll agree with that.
Because you're gonna make her do something even more badass, like kill Cersei. If she takes both out, I'm fucking done. I'm done with this TV show. Sansa, what do you think?
I'd say she lives.
I also agree with that. I
think she'll become slightly evil too.
I'm with it. I'm gonna put in quotes evil, but alive. My thing was like, I don't know who's gonna end up where at the end of this, but I feel like she's gonna end up leading the North. It's just they've been building towards that a lot lately. With like everyone pissed off that Jon was like, I'll come back with an army, and then he comes back and he's like, by the way, I'm not king anymore, but we got an army. I think she's gonna end up on top if she's still alive. So alive, quote, and evil. Jon, dead or alive? What do you think?
I think he's gonna be alive. Like, why bring him back if you're gonna kill him again? I don't know.
And there's nobody to bring him back now. Basically, all of the red priests that we're aware of are gone.
True.
And I feel like because his character during the Battle of Winterfell was so largely useless,
Yeah.
He's got to do something cool. So we'll put checks. He's alive. Tyrion, dude, I for sure thought the way that they were building the music up in the crypt that him and Sansa were about to fucking get 86.
Yeah.
Like, and they like look at each other and they're like that loving look where they're like, "You weren't that bad. Hey, you weren't half bad either." I was like, they're about to kill this motherfucker. And then sure enough, he's not, which means he's going to go to King's Landing. He's going to be pissed. Ooh, actually, I'm going to write the Hound because I desperately want him to survive also. But Tyrion, do you think he's dead or alive at the end of this?
I think he's dead. I think they're gonna, because people love him so much, they're gonna kill him for some like big emotional scene or something.
Big shock factor.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and agree. I don't know how there's an outcome where she's not dead, but Cersei, there's no way she survives everything. She's been too good the entire show. She really hasn't lost at any point.
Yeah.
Like, so you're gonna tell me that she's been able to outsmart every single person on the face of the earth thus far? Like, I half expect Daenerys to show up with her fucking half dragon that she's got left and just light these motherfuckers up.
Yeah.
So Cersei, dead or alive at the end of the season?
I say dead.
I agree with that. Who the fuck did I just write in there? I wrote a J and then I trailed off. It's not John. Who else has got a fucking J? Oh, Jamie, obviously.
Yeah.
Dead or alive?
I think dead.
Well, I think we'll find. We needed to disagree on one of them. I think he stays alive, and I think he's the one that kills Cersei. We'll see. Because at this point, he's like probably had it with her. They all fucking almost died because she didn't help. Like, he's got to go back and take her out.
Yeah.
With how close she came to death last time, this last episode, Brienne, dead or alive?
I think alive.
There's a lot of people on this list that we think are going to be alive. What about Sam?
I don't know. Probably dead.
There's this pretty popular theory that Game of Thrones is Sam is entering this information into the Citadel as an older version of himself. And so the end of the show, it wraps up and then it cuts to, fucking 20 years later, and he's an old ass man and he's sitting up in the Citadel with his maester chain and he's writing this shit down.
That would be cool.
Which would be like, I feel like that's an ending that has happened before with something else, but why wouldn't that happen? Like, they're running with like no info, they're just doing whatever the fuck they want. So
I could see that happening, but I don't know. Part of me thinks he's just gonna die.
So we'll disagree on that one too. I think I hope he's alive, just because he gets told all of this shit this season, like, "Hey, I killed your family." He's like, "Well, at least my brother's alive." Well, oh, killed your brother too. I'm like, okay, well, he's got to get some revenge. And then last but not least, Daenerys, dead or alive?
I think dead.
I also agree. I would hate for her to be on top because she's not that interesting, but whatever. And then second last, the Hound, dead or alive? Because we all know that the Hound's about to go square off with this fucking zombie brother next episode.
Yeah, I think they both kill each other somehow if that happens.
Like, the whole thing is like, since like season 3, there's like the Clegane Bowl where like the two of them are supposed to fight. I also think they're gonna fight to the death, and like both of them just fucking die. Like maybe they both catch on fire. I don't know. So yeah, the people that we're saying are gonna be dead, we both agree that Arya will be dead, Tyrion will be dead, Cersei will be dead, the Hound will be dead, and we disagree on Jamie, we disagree on Sam, and we think Dany will be dead.
What about Tormund?
Dude, he's gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
After how fucking dope he was this season, he's dead.
Yeah, or he like sacrifices himself for Brienne or something.
Yeah, 100%. Like that, dude. My favorite part of that episode too is when they were sitting around the fire and they were just shooting the shit, and he tells the story about fucking like sucking on giant's milk and shit. Like, yeah. I was like, who fucking came up with this? Like, everyone's talking about like, we're gonna be dead tomorrow. This life sucked. Brienne fucking gets knighted. She's so happy. And he's like, I once killed a giant and then I sucked on a giant's titty for like 5 months. And that's how I became an adult. Like, all right, man. Everyone else is like, what the fuck? So yeah, Game of Thrones is almost over, and then I have nothing left to watch on TV, so I can just cancel my fucking cable subscription, I guess. But if you're not watching Barry, you should be watching Barry. It's the funniest show on television. And they just did an episode last week that was like a soft break from what the seasons had been, and it was one of the most bizarre and interesting episodes of television I've ever seen, and it was just fucked up. It, like, out of context, it would be one of the most fucked up episodes of TV you've ever seen. Without spoiling too much, Barry has to. So Bill Hader plays a character named Barry. He's a hitman, a retired fucking Marine, and he decides that he doesn't want to kill people anymore, whatever. And he just gets progressively deeper into this weird situation. He moves to LA, wants to become an actor, but he can't stop killing people, and he gets caught up with like the Chechen mafia. And the story winds him down this road where this last episode he's in a situation where he has to kill a child. And just how it plays out is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. It was also probably the funniest and hardest I've ever laughed in any television show in history. So Barry, I highly recommend. One of the best shows on television. It's incredible.
It'll be my next show, probably. I got nothing to watch right now.
Dude, I'm watching Barry, watching Game of Thrones, watching. I've been trying to get through The Sopranos again, but I keep pausing. And that's it. Like, I don't even watch television, so a show is good if I'm like take the 10 hours to watch it. But that's it, man. There's a lot of battles, a lot of spoilers. We're a few days away from this next episode of Game of Thrones. Maybe we'll do an addendum, an update on at the end of the season, just so we can check our Deadpool and see who's really alive. But outside of television and movies, man, what have you been up to?
Nothing. Dude, I don't have a job or anything out here. And then we're gonna be moving in another month again.
Still around that area, or?
We're going to California.
Fam, like, do you know where about yet?
It's northern, but it's like an hour or two from Sacramento.
Wow, that's fucking north. Holy shit, dude, you might as well be in the Pacific Northwest at that point. Like, you're like, I think you're probably closer to like fucking Oregon and Washington than you are fucking LA if you're that far up.
Yeah, I think we're 6 hours from LA.
Dude, that's wild. I mean, Texas sucks. So what are you gonna do?
Dude, I saw a fucking tornado yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, shit was scary.
Dude, I spent my whole life being prepared to fucking die in a bathtub because of how frequent tornadoes are. Like, and literally, like, they're fucking crazy. They'll, especially like not like a 1 or a 2, but like when you start getting that twister action, where like it's actually picking shit up with it, and it's not just like dirt and dust and like water. It's like fucking like sightings of like buildings like whipping around. You're like, I'm gonna fucking die in my bathroom. Like, the last thing I'm gonna see is the fucking bottom of this bathtub because that's the only place you're safe in the house.
Yeah,
it's been real.
It wasn't that bad, but I was going to the base to pick Megan up, and I fucking see it up in the sky in front of me. I'm like, oh shit! And she's called me like, get the fuck inside,
dude. It's like crazy. Like, you'll see the clouds moving, and from our perspective, they don't seem to be moving that fast. It's just like a slow swirl. But then you think about how big they are and how much fucking air it's moving, and then you see it start to like curve its way down towards the ground, and then the moment it touches the ground, all of a sudden, it's big as fuck, and you're like, oh, we're gonna die today. Like, even small ones, dude. Like, because there's like small ones that aren't like classified as tornadoes, whatever. They're like dirt devils and like fucking little baby ones, but shit's terrifying, bruh. Because like it can change real fast, and like you'll be driving away from one, and the fucking thing will just take like a 90-degree turn and just start coming for you. Like, telling you, you got to get the fuck out of there.
Got a month. Hopefully it don't happen. It's supposed to rain and shit all next week. So,
dude, it's tornado season, bro. That was like a real season for us, man, in West Texas and Arizona and shit. Like, it was tornado season. Like, Yep. If it was hot and then cold and then rainy and then not rainy and then rainy again, like you better stay the fuck indoors. Like you don't know what's happening. But that's tight. I mean, California is gonna be fire. Everyone's in California. Everyone I know is in fucking California now. So
Come out.
dude, we are trying to get the fuck out of here so fast. We signed a lease for another year. That way we didn't have to worry about moving like in town.
Yeah.
But we're like fully prepared to just break it and just dip the fuck out as soon as we can.
You got a destination in mind?
No. So like Madison still works remote. She can go wherever she wants. And I'm working in a fucking axe throwing bar, dude. Like all I do is drink beers and fucking throw axes at people. And so I'm trying to get this. I'm working hard on getting this remote job. That would mean that I could work from home every day, but I'd have to start at like 6 a.m. But if I get it, we're going wherever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
So we might. And like Mad wants to fucking move to Oregon and Washington and shit. Maybe Northern California is close enough. That'd be fire.
Yeah. We're there for at least 3 years.
Wow. Is it was it assigned based on her what they're deploying her for or what?
Yeah, for her job.
Wow.
Which is just cable maintenance.
Like cable television maintenance or
no.
You work for Comcast out there? Dude. Cable maintenance, bro. Is that like
cable and antennas? Yeah.
I get it. I mean, that's like not a job that I would have ever thought existed, but I guess it does. It has to.
Yeah.
Was that how much of that was assigned to her? Like, dude, like when I almost joined the fucking military when I was like 17 because I for sure was like, I'm fucking not going to college. I fucking hate this idea. And then like I signed up and like did like my ASVAB and the guy was like, hey, you're not a dipshit. You can pretty much do whatever you want, but you got to pick now and then we'll figure it out from there. And like at the last moment, I was like, no, I don't feel like dying this year. So I'm not going to go because the year that I was joining, was going to join the military was 2006 to 2007. You know what was happening in 2007? Afghanistan was popping off. So like, like the dude was like, yeah, man, you'll go sit on a submarine for 6 months out there. I was like, no, I'm not gay. So I can't do that. But like cable maintenance, dude, like, was it random assigned or did she choose that based on what was available?
She didn't choose that. Like she went in open electrical because she got higher scores, and that was a job that was open.
I wonder do you think it'll always have to be that shit? Do you think you can move on? Like I don't know how it fucking works, but
yeah, she signed 4 years. It was a shorter contract, so
I guess the good news is when it's over, like you just had a job for 4 years that you didn't have to worry about too much. Like
and the job she has, like, can transfer over to like civilian jobs. So
that's it. I mean, that's the key. Like I feel bad for people that join and then they get these jobs that are like only applicable when you're in the military. like, yeah, man, I know that fixing fucking tank engines is dope, but you're gonna work in a garage when you come back, dude. It's not gonna play out the way you think it is. Like, dude, that's wild. I guess Northern California, dude, it could be worse. It could be fucking. It could be Texas.
Her, so one of the major places for her job was North Dakota. That would have been so bad,
dude. We joke about fucking with what we pay in rent here. We could just mortgage a house in the middle of nowhere, in like North Dakota, and just build like a recording studio in our basement, like soundproof it and put like a good kit in there, like all the fucking guitar equipment we want, and I could just fucking work remotely from home from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then just write fucking weird experimental acid trip albums in our basement for the other 8 hours a day.
There you go.
For $1,600 a month or whatever the fucking a mortgage out in Nebraska would be because nobody wants to live there. So we're working on it, man. I'm just trying to get a remote job so we can leave and we can just like go on vacation for 2 months and not have to fucking come home.
Yeah. Hey, if you want a vacation in October, we're going to Hornets.
I know. Dude, every single year, I'm like, we're going this year. We're going to go this year. And without fault, almost every year, something happens with my job around October. Like, uh, last year, we were geared up. We were like really amped about it. And then in June, my job was like, yeah, we only have like an 8-month thing. Like we're gonna be gone in like a couple months. And I was like, oh fuck, I better start looking for a new job. And then they're like, oh, we're gonna be here until November. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And they're like, psych, it's gonna be September. Psych, it's gonna be October. And so like my job ended. Like they like moved out, and I was like, it was like 2 weeks after Halloween Horror Nights had happened. I had no job, and I was like, dude, we might be going back to New Hampshire. Like I don't know what the fuck to do. And literally like didn't do anything for like months, and then finally fucking ended up at this bar, which I've never worked in a bar in my life. It's the most fucked up thing ever, dude. Um, so if you guys come back to visit your parents at any point, we got to coordinate a time for you guys to come down and get fucked up and throw axes, dude. It's pretty wild.
All right.
Dude, for sure. But yeah, we'd love to do that. We're trying to go to Thailand. Because I also like want to just go fucking train Muay Thai there for like a month and get my ass kicked every day.
That'd be cool.
I could come back and say I've done it. Because I'm literally going to be 30 in 2 weeks, and I was telling everyone at work they found my old fight videos from when I got lit the fuck up a few times. And dude, it's crazy to think that was like 6 years ago or 4 years ago. No,
Yeah.
6 years ago. It was
I think it was
2014.
last month too, in April.
And they were like, "Would you ever fight again?" I was like, I didn't really fight those times either. I kind of just got my shit rocked real fast. So like, there's a new Muay Thai gym here that is like an offshoot of the gym where Crew Mark came from. Did you ever train with Crew Mark up at Nick's gym?
A couple times.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He used to just like fucking roll in and like do weird classes and stuff. Like his main gym is across the street from me, basically, the gym that he came from. And they just introduced like a full jujitsu program, which they didn't have before. And it's $100 a month, which is less than I was paying for Nick's in New Hampshire for just unlimited jujitsu. But unlimited jujitsu also gets you Muay Thai. And so I'm like, dude, I could probably take another crack at it, like do a year's worth of full training and just fucking take a run at it. Because there's a shit ton of promotions around here where they'll just let anybody fight.
Yeah.
like your gloves fit, get in the ring, you're good. And there's not very many heavyweight fighters, which means they're either all dead or there's no one to challenge me. So I'm just trying to put one W on my list before I retire, dude.
Yeah. I think once we get settled in over there in California, I'll start training again.
Dude, Cali's got all the best gyms. So
Team Alpha Male is not too far from me.
Dude, that'd be wild. I mean, if you're gonna do a gym, like, why not them? Fuck.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's got to be a way to. I guess there's got to be a way to fucking use the military connects to get some free training somewhere.
It's probably not that great, but
yo, my wife's in the military. Can we train here for free? Yeah, man, cool. But dude, you got it, man. I'm trying to take one more run at fucking MMA and Muay Thai. And dude, I haven't competed in jiu-jitsu in years. I blew my fucking knee out right when we got here. And I don't ever have health insurance, so I just let it happen.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, hey, I should probably go get it fixed, but I should probably fight first before they tell me I shouldn't be doing it. So we'll see what happens, man. I might have to fly you guys out. I need a corner man again. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm not gonna call Chris for it. So
no. Wonder what that dude's up to now.
He's dead. He's probably fucking dead, dude.
He's probably got 50 more losses.
Dude, oh fam, I gotta know. I have to know. What the fuck? What was his last? Yeah, there it is. I'm so curious. I'm looking on Tapology right now. Wow, his last fight was around the last time that he fought in 2016, but he was supposed to fight last year and it got canceled. He fought a bunch of Muay Thai fights, which I knew had happened. That was like around the time that we were still in New Hampshire. And yeah, he fought one dude in 2016. The guy he fought has basically just like a losing record across the board. Like his only won like 2 fights in his life. But oh my god, the dude that the guy he beat was Kenny Lewis. We actually saw Kenny fight once. His like amateur record is literally like 9 and like fucking 25. And Chris's record is 8 and 17. So that explains it all, I think.
That's like the trend for Vermont fighters there.
Yeah, we have I'm like looking at, so if you look at the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Upper Valley for fighters, the only 4 active fighters, it was Chris, Nick, myself, and Kevin. And the only person that has a winning record is fucking Nick. And it was because Nick fought one time and choked the dude out and then never fought again.
Go out while you're on top, I guess.
Yeah. And so that was, yeah, man, my fights were, it was 2014. And both the guys that I fought both went on to, like, one dude went on to win like a fucking title or some shit. So I didn't feel too bad about it. But every heavyweight fighter from that era is retired. We all retired at the same time because we were all so bad. Dude. Yeah, nobody's fought since like 2014. Like I said, no heavyweight fighters, which means low bar of entry. They'll let anyone fight. And I'm more than willing to get my ass knocked out at least one more time. Technically never been knocked out, but TKO'd at least once. The ref stopped it before I lost consciousness. So, yeah, man, I'm going to gear up and try and take another run at it. And then we'll see if you guys can come out here and just fucking get wild. Because I got nothing to lose except brain cells and the ability to form sentences. What else, man? Marvel, Game of Thrones, we covered all the bases. That was the whole point, was we wanted to talk shit about Marvel. But I just realized that I didn't have enough content to fill a 2-hour episode with just Marvel stuff pretty quickly. That's it, probably. What we should do is we should plan on reconvening and doing a post Game of Thrones season 8, just a full breakdown, Deadpool, the whole 9. And then we should just plan on, I mean, at a minimum, we got to come back for Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I am still working on, I'm still trying to piece together my fucking Grizzly Rage collection bullshit. I find them periodically. I haven't watched any of them because I didn't want to start until we were official. It was going to make a thing. But if anything, we could retire a couple of dicks as is and just bring in a couple of flicks as the sequel.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. We'd actually have a subject to talk about each time instead of winging it like we usually do.
I kind of like the idea of the name just being a couple of flicks. That was right off the dome.
I like that. I like
dude,
it.
That's how it's got to be. So we'll come back for Game of Thrones. Maybe that'll be the last a couple of dicks, and we'll circle back and we'll change the format to a couple of flicks, and we can start our fucking I can't remember the name of Maneater series. There it is.
Yeah.
The Maneater series. That's what I'm talking. That's the way it needs to be.
How many episodes of Game of Thrones left? 3?
Literally 3.
I was thinking maybe we make it to episode 40, but before changing it or something.
Where are we at for number?
We're at 35 right now.
We should gear up. The next 5 will be very specific in their purpose, and then we'll retire at 40, and we can keep a couple of dicks. We can archive it, and then it could be a couple of dicks 2.0, a couple of flicks, and it could be a retitling. It could just be a couple of flicks, episode 1 for 41.1 or episode 1.A or whatever. Like, I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe we'll just keep a couple of dicks and then in subtitles, aka a couple of flicks. I'm sure iTunes would be okay with the fucking 18-word title.
Yeah.
But
Gotta look into some hosting then too.
I'd love to do. I literally have fucking our Squarespace. Every now and then I go to the website and I log in and I check the domains to make sure they're still there. And I just like have everything saved in my Squarespace. All I have to do is pull the trigger on it. But I was like, I'm not going to pay for it until we're ready to do something with
Yeah.
it because no one's going to take a couple of dicks other than us. I hope. Fingers crossed. Let's see.
Yeah. I know we talk about it. We talk about it every episode, but never pull the trigger.
Well, it's because like I feel like if you Google a couple of dicks and you're not really specific about it, some problems can come out. But yeah, it's still up. A couple of dicks. So is I think ACOD is still up too. ACOD.com. Yeah, both of those websites are still up. We should the buying the domain is cheap. It's like $10 because there's literally no demand for it. But the Squarespace hosting is like $100 a year. But if we have content to throw on it, man, we'll buy it finally.
Yeah.
Pull the trigger, drop my pen. But dude, is that the Ash version? Is that the Ash pop right behind you?
Yeah, the puppet.
Oh no, you have the puppet. What's the?
I got a
right left to the chainsaw. That one right there.
This one.
There you go.
I got the Army of Darkness Ash and then Ash vs Evil Dead Ash.
Dude, the Army of Darkness one is the one that I had Bruce sign when he came a couple years ago, and dude, the Ashy Slashy puppet has been like every time I walk into our comic store that we have here, they have like a fucking mint sealed one. It's sitting there, and every now and then I walk in and it's like $5 less. I'm just waiting for it to hit like fucking $20. I'm just gonna buy it.
That's what I was doing, and then Megan got that for me for Christmas.
Dude, it's so fire. And season 3 just hit Netflix finally, even though it's been like over a year. But
I don't like the way it ended.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah,
we'll have to come back.
Just disappointing.
We'll have to come back. Episode 36 can be the end of Ash versus Evil Dead and Game of Thrones. Just because I don't know. I keep putting it off because I was afraid to watch it because I didn't think it was going to be good. Because season 2 was up and down a little bit.
It's the same with 3, and then the ending is like, yeah.
Do they end it? And does it feel like they knew that it was the end, or do they end it and you're like, oh fuck, now we're not going to get closure?
It's a total cliffhanger.
Fuck me. All right. Well, that'll be the next episode. I'm going to power through Ash versus Evil Dead this week, and then we'll try and get back for Game of Thrones at the end, and we'll look at this list, and maybe we'll do like a in memoriam. We can do a slideshow of the picture and like a check yes or no whether we got it right. But maybe we'll see what happens, man. I don't know. Anything else to add before we dip? We've got to be at like 90 minutes now, 80 minutes.
Yeah, I think we got everything.
Fire. Wow.
Do you have like a certain day of the week you have off that you can do this, or
Mondays, Wednesdays, most days?
All right.
I pretty much work. I'm at the mercy of when people want to get drunk. So, but yeah, Mondays are guaranteed, and then Wednesdays are pretty frequently. So we could just do like a midweek episode, like if that works most times.
Yeah,
that'd be tight. Yeah, man, we'll do it. We'll make it to at least 40 before we rebrand or we launch the next series. Because I'd love to have 40 episodes in the pocket, and then launch the website with them, all 40 available, and then just start linking to whatever content. Because I have a YouTube channel that I never use. I have a Twitch channel that I never use. But
I've been doing my collection videos.
I see that. You got some subscribers too, man. You got a few.
I got 10.
Most of
them I know.
Dude, I would love to like pivot the collection videos into the Maneater series and pivot a couple of dicks into a brief offshoot of a couple of flicks, and then boom, like that's the easy 30 episodes right there. That gets us almost to 100. Like,
yeah,
if we ever get to 100, we've got to do something big. Like maybe buy the website finally. Oh my god, the 100 episode special is us buying a couple of dicks.com, ACOD.com, and it just routes all of it to the same thing. That'd be fire. We should definitely launch the Maneater series around episode 40. I think it's such a niche thing that I feel like so few people have heard of I feel like we've got to get some traction on it. People
Yeah.
gotta hear about these movies because they're so fucking bad.
There's some would you want to do like every other episode do a man-eater thing and do some on the random one in between that?
We could do it that way. It could be like a couple of dicks 41, and then 42 could be called titled a couple of flicks, but still be episode 42 in the canon, and then 43 reverts back to normal. 44 reverts to a couple of dicks, and just like continue the continuity of the episodes, but then have offshoots, just like any podcast has like an offshoot episode.
Yeah.
That would be it, and that way also increase the numbers, because I'm trying to get to 100 on this, man. Like, I know people that started podcasts like 6 months ago and they're on like episode 22. I'm like, first off, fuck you guys. Secondly, how are you hosting? I'm in third. Fuck you again.
Yeah.
Your podcast is 10 minutes. That's easy.
We're 5 years in, 35 episodes.
Basically one every couple of months. That's where we're at. Yeah, man. We'll cap this one off. I 100% expect the podcast title to just be the Thanos episode, the Thanos theory. Because that's still, I hope that they go back in time again, and that's how they decide to fix the timeline, is they go into his ass and they just stay there. Do you think if Ant-Man stayed inside his ass for 5 years, he would have aged or not?
Oh, definitely.
What do you think 5 years worth of just straight exposure to butt juice would do to a person's skin? Like, do you think your skin would begin to absorb it at some point, or?
Probably.
I got to do some research.
It's coming out look like the shit demon from Dogma.
Also, we never saw Thanos eat. Like, are we sure that he even takes a shit? Like, we don't know. He probably doesn't. Do you think that he could have snapped his fingers and just removed everybody's clogged shit from their butts? Because
you can do whatever the fuck you want, so probably.
I think we should end the episode by saying, if you had the Infinity Gauntlet and you could snap your fingers and wish anything into being, what would it be? Like anything in the world. You could snap and boom, here it is. What is it?
That's a tough question off the top of the head.
Here's what I want. You snap your fingers and every light bulb in the world unscrews itself 1/4 turn, so that every person in the universe has to screw their light bulb back in. That's the most villainous and heinous shit of all time. Every single person has to screw their light bulb back in.
Oh, so it's got to be villainous?
I mean, it doesn't have to be, but that's just the way I would err on it.
If it's villainous, everyone stubs their toe at the same time.
There's just a collective groan from the plane. If not the light bulbs, because not everybody uses light bulbs. As I was thinking about it, I realized people use candles too. You snap your fingers, and for one brief moment in time, every light in the universe turns itself off. So you have to manually and go like turn the light bulb back on, fucking relight the candle, put the batteries back in your flashlight. Every single light in the universe, boom, it's out. And that is what Thanos should have done.
Just candles.
Fuck candles. Just boom, candles are out.
Or you make the wicks the trick birthday candle wicks.
And every light bulb doesn't. When you screw a light bulb in and you get the seating wrong, and it screws in, but it doesn't turn on because it's fucked up. It's like that. Every candle in the world is a trick wick, a birthday wick, a John wick, if you would. That would be my villains. And I guess if I was gonna do a superhero act with a gauntlet snap, I would snap my fingers and I would eliminate half of the universe's population so that McDonald's wasn't fucking going up in price every week. Do you think that wiping out half the people in the universe was the right thing to do? Because I kind of feel like it was. As long as I make it, I'm straight.
Yeah, kind of.
Like,
overpopulation is a pretty big problem.
Dude, he snaps his fingers and just instantly, like, Florida just disappears. Dude, all of Florida just dusts away. like Florida man is gone. He snaps his fingers, boom. Everybody that's written a bad review about me on the internet for anything I've ever done is gone. Our 7 listeners, 3.5 now.
Well, if they could have if he specifically got all the bad guys out at the end, why couldn't he have done that? You know?
Good question. There's a lot of plot holes, man. Like, you'd think that Thanos would have, when he did the gauntlet snap, yeah, that he would have targeted people specifically in that half that could prevent him from doing it. But instead, he was like, just half people. I don't know. Ooh, anyone.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I would have been like, I'm going to go ahead and do half the people, but can we put an emphasis on people that don't like me? Boom, snapped. So, Homeboy did not use the gauntlet correctly. So I'm just saying, if I had it, all your candles are fucked up now.
And I just thought of what about all those people on the ship from Asgard? Half of them, what happens when they come back? Are they in space?
I don't know. Like, could you imagine if you got snapped and you were like taking a shit and then you get unsnapped and now all of a sudden it's like been 5 years, but you're still on the toilet. But your house isn't fixed. Your house is still fucked up. Like, you saw the rundown houses, so you were snapped in the bathtub and now you're unsnapped. You're back in the bathtub, but the bathtub's been sitting there for 5 years. That's disgusting. Like,
yeah. Or there's someone else in it.
There's someone else in your bathtub to snap, boom, and you're inside him now because that's the plot hole we all needed answered, is what happens if you were snapped back into existence but someone was standing right where you were at already. Like, do you just whoop and you just grow from inside them? Because
they coming out look like the Thing.
I just want I should write an email to Disney and just ask, like, what happened if you were snapped back into existence in the same bathtub that someone else was in at the same time? Sincerely, a coupleofdicks.com. Thank you. I don't even remember how we end these things. What was the catchphrase? Was it okay. Bye?
Yeah.
Are we okay bye yet? We're at an hour and a half, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I don't got really anything else.
I don't have anything else for this week. We'll snap this episode into half so it does not become 3 hours. But we'll be back for Game of Thrones no matter what in the next week or 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it is. And then we'll start the Man-Eater series. Get to that number 100, buy the website, and boom, we'll be official on iTunes.
Finally.
All right, man. I'm going to snap my fingers. Okay, bye.
All right, bye.